Okay, let's try this one more time. I honestly, like, it's so frustrating because my internet has been so bad since their maintenance the other day. They did maintenance last week on my internet, and it has been terrible. Like, it has been the worst that it has ever been. I just came on and I was like, enjoy this 45-minute stream from 1 hour ago, and then you went live. Yeah, no, my internet is shit. So I reset everything. I restarted the router. I restarted the mesh system. Like, I restarted everything. And I don't know. I just don't know. Like I said, they did maintenance the other day, and it's been shit ever since. Like, it's been disconnecting all the time. More than, like, my internet has always been spotty. I know, but it has been, like, disconnecting more than the usual annoying disconnecting. Hello, Broseth. Hello. Hello. Alright, can I scan you? What do you mean prawn suit fragment? It's literally the whole suit. It's quite literally the whole suit. What do you mean fragment? Thank you for the food. Wait, it didn't work? Alright, hold on. It said that it, oh god. Everything is messed up today. Literally everything is messed up today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so annoyed. I'm so sorry. Ugh. Can't catch a break. I just can't catch a break. Okay. Let's see now. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. Did it change my channel points too? Like, did it take my little customization off? I can't even look right now. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, it did. That sucks. I put the little Subnautica S on it, like, to make it all cute. I'm about to have the prawn suit if I can get... Oh, I think I can get this one. Is this one empty? Yeah, it's empty. Okay. So now we swap to this one. Hit the wrong button, as always. Yeah, prawn suit. There it is. There it is.
Acquired.
That one worked that time. Thank you, Ark. That one worked that time. No signal. No signal. Can you... Riley, just jump. I'm getting a lot of lag in here. I remember there being something over here, but I don't remember what it is. Oh, a whole ass flashlight? I'll take it. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I thought that there was something over there, but I am either misremembering or just not seeing it. Underwater is a safe place to be. Exactly. It's totally fine. Don't you know? My suit's like made of rubber or something. It's totally fine. Can you get up there? This way? Wow, it uses like 5% per. That's wild. Alright, what else do I need to get in here? Water, okay. Ooh, I need the kitty poster! It's a must! How is this touching me? Explain how fire is touching me. Okay. Give me this kitty poster. I need it. I need it.
Integrating new PDA data.
Nothing. Nothing to scan. I have everything in here. Alright, let's go in here. Gimme. Gimme, gimme, gimme. 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 Okay. Alright, canteen. We came from that way, so we go this way now. Okay. Gotta get rid of this fire, because if you even remotely, like, if you just look at fire, it burns you, which, you know, makes so much sense. Okay. Let's go this way first. Okay, cabin 1. We don't have... Oh, wait, do we have a passcode for cabin 1? I'll have to look. Okay. I missed a fire extinguisher? Did I? It's possible. Oh, I did, on the wall. Good call. Good call. Okay. Why does this keep catching on fire? Alright, so cabin 1. There's gotta be... Alright, so we do have some... Okay, I don't have that one yet, I don't think. Oh, cabin 1. 1869. Okay. Nice. What's in here? Water? What are you doing? Alright, let's use you. Let's use you. Should probably drop these because they're empty and you can't refill them. What? Oh my god, really? Did I miss that last time, or is that new?
Integrating new PDA data.
Captain's quarters. All right. Do I have the captain's quarters? Oops, so. Cabin 1. Okay, not yet. Hydrate? Okay. Okay, operations logs? No, it's gonna be codes and clues. Okay. Okay. So the captain's quarters, I need to find the thing for. I don't remember if I found that last time. The captain's quarters code.
Integrating new PDA data.
Yeah, it's a public document. Battery, inventory full. Alright. This flashlight's... Oh, this flashlight doesn't even have a battery. Okay, so let's just do that real quick. Put a power source in it. There, okay. Now I could pick up that one. I don't actually need this at the moment. Oh, you're back. You're back. You must be a moderator to do this? What's going on? Everything is broken. Everything is jacked up. Literally everything is broken. Mix It Up doesn't know what's going on. Mix It Up is testing that patience. That's what's going on right now. Alright, I'm full. Can I, this carry-all, there's nothing in the carry-alls, right? I think I did this last time and I like picked a bunch up thinking they were important.
Listen, I know I don't have the right to make demands
I don't need
you,
that.
but I need you to understand
I need the captain's quarter code.
I hear what you're saying, and I will try to respect it. How would you like to change it? I would like to reduce our contact hours. How much further can we do that? To 0. You're dumping me. I'm changing the terms of our relationship. How is it still a relationship if we don't see each other? It's a relationship of a kind. You have so many expectations.
Is there anything? I don't remember if there's anything in these.
I feel you just want to spend more time with that dumb guy.
Come back for transporting personal items.
That's not a feeling.
Wait, so do I do this?
And I feel
5.
hostility in what you're saying. Perhaps your jealousy is a sign that you need to take another look at your business model. Why can't you just be happy for me? I am happy for you, and I'm happy for all the guys in the prawn bay.
You can use these.
I'm just not happy
Okay.
for me. This is why I want to change our arrangement.
You can. Okay. Okay. So then, and then you pick it up. Bag is not empty, cannot pick up. Oh. Okay, so that's why they're useless. I see now. I see. Everything makes sense now. I was like, yeah, you can. What do you mean? You can store stuff in them, but then you can't pick them up. That's lame. Yeah, that's lame. Alright, so I still haven't found the code to the captain's quarters. Can you grab things? Thank you. Is this the empty one? I don't remember. So they're all empty though, right? There's nothing in any of them? Okay. Where's the captain's quarters code? Yeah, I could pick up that hat. I can't wear it though, so it's kind of stupid. All right. Captain's quarters. Okay, so we're at a standstill with the living quarters here. The canteen, supply. I feel like I don't know. Wait, 1806, Yu's birthday? Is he the thing? Is he the captain? Probably not, right? Oh, see, there's no 0. Okay, so it's not that. Okay. Let's go on, because I actually... Like, I don't actually know where that code is. And I don't think I got it last time either. So now I'm curious where it actually is. Okay. So when we came in here, Prawn Bay, there was a choice, remember? I could go Prawn Bay or somewhere else. Spooky thank you for killing all the bad things. Alright, so I came in here. Oh, here's a battery. Inventory is full. Let's do this. Grab that battery. These batteries are big. Okay. Alright, Prawn Bay and locker room was that way. So could I have gone this way is the other choice I could have made. Well, I guess I can go in here too. I did this already. Yeah, I did this already. Okay, and then this was the other way. Did I kill all bad things? Dyson hairdryer is still alive. Oh my god, the idiot with the hairdryer.
The drive core shielding sustained internal damage during collision. Do
Lol.
not attempt repair without appropriate qualifications.
Oh, I have the qualifications. I am a janitor, sir. I am a janitor. Cyclops engine efficiency module.
Warning, local
Go.
radiation at maximum tolerable level.
Oh, really? Maximum tolerable level. So what happens if I go in here? What happens if I go in the water? Fire underwater? Shake my head. Listen. You don't know? You don't know about that water fire? Wait, can I straight just use my repair tool? Like, is that a thing? Oh, you son of a bitch. Yeah, I know. Repair. Get off of here. There we go. Repair.
Containment breach repaired. Further breaches detected.
Wait, can you really do this? I don't think I
Containment
did
breach
this last time.
repaired. Further breaches detected.
Okay, let's get a little air. Okay. Here. This is wild.
Containment
I don't think I
breach
did this last.
repaired.
Oh, here's one right here.
Further breaches detected. Containment breach repaired.
I like how they're like
Further breaches detected.
only repair this if you know what you're doing, and I'm like, yeah. I've got this repair tool.
Containment breach repaired.
I know what I'm
Further
doing.
breaches detected. Containment
I'm
breach
repairing
repaired.
stuff.
Further breaches
Get off of me.
detected.
These sons of bitches. Repair. They're very annoying. Those little
Containment
leechy
breach repaired.
fishes.
Further breaches detected.
Further breaches detected. Oh, there's one up top here. Hold on. Alright, are there any more sparking underwater? Yes, one right here. Right, I think it's at 39. I've got so many batteries because of this.
Containment breach repaired.
whole
breaches detected.
thing. Can I climb? Ooh, I can. How many breaches left does it say? I'll have to look this time.
Containment
2.
breach repaired. Further breaches detected. Containment
1.
breach repaired.
Where's the last one?
Further breaches detected.
I have to be able to get to it, so... Oh, where is it? Oh, nice. It's gotta be underwater, maybe? Alright, hold on. Let me see. Do I see sparking anywhere? Get off of me. Oh, there it is. There it is. I don't know what this does. I've never done this before.
Drive core breach sealed. Radiation levels decreasing.
Oh, nice. So have I decreased the radiation levels for, like, everywhere? Like the rest of the game? Alright, I still didn't find the captain's code. Alright, so there's gotta be somewhere else to go. Back. I can't fight my internet anymore. I'm sorry. All right, I need to find the captain's code, the captain's quarters code. That's, I think, the last thing I need from in here. Well, no, that can't be true because I haven't gotten any modification station upgrades. The radiation slowly dissipates outside. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I didn't do that last time. Okay, so cargo bay, admin. Didn't I do admin first? Yeah, see, there's nothing else even. Oh, there's better. There's nothing else in admin, though. All right, do you remember where the code for the captain's quarters is? Like, am I just dumb? There's nowhere else to go. Okay, I did admin. The cargo bay leads into the sea moth, to the prawn, to the living quarters. Okay, cargo bay I open. Okay. Watch it be like right here. I'll be so pissed. No, of course not. It like wouldn't be in the cargo bay. That seems silly. Okay. PCG lost their mod. That's why it's saying that. Oh my gosh. I have to fucking mod PCG. I hate this. Damn. Now they can write their stupid stuff. I forgot. Alright, I guess I'm done in the Aurora because I can't find the code for the captain's log, or the captain's quarters, I mean. And I've looked in all of my databank stuff, notes to self. Cargo bay. There's cabin 1. I don't know. I really don't know. Oh my gosh. Did you see what this is? This is a message from Nintendo. That's funny. Okay. I'm gonna go. Maybe you find it later and you come back to the Aurora? Maybe? I don't know. But I'm still annoyed because I thought there was way more blueprints here. Like, I thought there was way more blueprints on the Aurora. Alright, can I see Leviathan anywhere? Is there stuff down here to scan? In the water? No, I don't think so. Alright, so the Reaper is usually out here. I'm just trying to see if I see it before I just like go. Yeah, there it is. I just saw the tail. There it is, see? There it is. He's just vibing. Alright, so I see him. So theoretically I can avoid him. He's right there. I feel like this is the moment where the game, like, makes you encounter it.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Alright, where'd he go? Where did he go? I'm pretty sure if you stay on the surface, he won't bother you. Alright, can I just go through some... There we go. Go around here. Yeah. Stay on the surface until I get over around here. He won't bother you. He won't bother you, I think. I think I'm technically like out of where he is. I'm so full I can't even like look at supplies right now. Ooh. Oh wow, there's like lots of stuff over here. Do I have any space? I don't. Look, see? Look at all this stuff here. Alright, so we're northeast from the base. Oh, do I have to reset crowd control? I didn't even look. Let's see. Okay. So now does it work? No. Alright, I'm gonna save. And restart the game, apparently. Annoying. Guys, I'm sorry that, like, my entire stream career has been a mess lately. You're golden? No, I'm annoyed, honestly. Like, nothing has been wanting to work for me lately. And it's not only affecting, like, in me, but it's, like, affecting, like, you know, my viewers. Because they're, like, most people are patient. But at the same time, like, I also don't blame people for being like, yeah, there's really no point in hanging out while nothing works. Second Officer Keen's last broadcast location. I wonder if he might have the captain quarters code and then I go back. But what would be in there that would be worth a second trip to the Aurora? You know? Like a whole second trip there, like what would be worth it? Okay, so now my other question. My other question is, how do you put mods in here without the actual modification station thing? Oh, here it is. There it is. Alright, access upgrades. Where is it? See multi-depth module. There we go. Okay.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Hi, Trem. Bye, Trem. Okay, what have we got? We got lots and lots of batteries, which is nice. Okay, that's still going. Okay, all these empties and then all these fulls. Okay. I don't know what to do with any. I don't know what to do with these. The empties, I guess, like I can just dispose, right? Like, you can't refill them, can you? Thought I had a power cell, but I guess I don't. See? Battery... Why are you giving me things that I don't know where they are? Yeah, see, I can't even make aerogel yet. That's annoying. Alright, so... we did the Aurora, so I guess really it's just time to explore at this point and start getting some stuff. I haven't really done a lot of like resource collecting because I haven't really had the time, because this little wonderful thing has been sending me all different directions. Drop this. Let's drop the rest of our stuff off so we have lots of room. Lots of room. Oh. Alright, this guy's full. Oh no, it's not, because I got rid of... yeah, I got rid of fire extinguishers. Alright, so I don't have a Cyclops yet. That's fine. Get those 3. And now we're full. Oh, I want to put this guy down. How do I do it? Like that. Oh my gosh. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Alright, let's put all this food and stuff away. No, hello? Food bricks. Love them. Love to see it. Alright, all these health packs too. Okay. 2. Okay. Let's sleep so it's day, even though I think it's about to be. Whoa, lag. Then I'm gonna start like hallucinating and shit, right? Guys, I saw something last time I woke up. Oh, I didn't do it this time. Okay. Okay. I need water. I'm stuck. Ooh, I like that little peaceful noise it just made. I've never heard that before. We need to start going deep.
Aboard, Captain.
Let's just go straight north. Straight north. Let's see what we find. Oh, wait, no. Let's go... let's go there. Can I go there? Oh, I don't think I can go there. 300 meters? Oh, I can just go. Okay. I'll have to like use this to go deep and then swim the rest of the way, but I have to be careful because I'm not gonna have a lot of oxygen. I don't think he's gonna have the code. Second officer, maybe. don't think I've been over here yet. Ooh. Oh, that's a prawn arm piece. I don't know if it's one I already have or not. Probably.
100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Two.
Passing 200
Where'd it go?
meters. Oxygen efficiency greatly
Oh,
decreased.
right next to me. Ooh, a torpedo arm. I don't have that one yet. That's cool. Ooh, what are you? You're a time capsule. Oh yeah, this is one of these things. Yeah, see? Okay, so now I'm too deep for this thing to go anyway. I just have to be super careful of my oxygen down here. Alright, where's my thing? There it is. Alright, so I can take this just a little tiny bit deeper. But not very much, because it'll start breaking because of the pressure. I just want to have like a good... There we go. There we go. I've got plenty. Does this go around? No. Is there more this way? There is. Look at this. Okay, so we just gotta be careful. Once we get to 200, there we go. Oh, okay, see, this is exactly what we need. Okay. Go. Get too close. Alright. Oh, there we go. Nice. What are you? Life pod. Voice log.
Integrating new PDA data. Signal location uploaded.
Crew log. No, survivors. Damn it. I was really hoping that was gonna be a score. Ruby. Oh, look at it. We're getting good stuff down here now. Diamonds. I forgot the rubies are just like stuck to the wall. What do those do? Aerogel, yes! That's right. This is how you make aerogel. Okay, there we go. This is what I needed. This is what I needed. Alright, oh, oxygen, oxygen. No, stop. Okay. Now I should be able to make gel. This is pretty big, chat. This is pretty big. I can't see anything. Okay, watching oxygen. Egg. Egg. Oh, full. Is this egg big? No, it's not. I'm literally full. Damn, I like barely got to do anything in here. Man. Yeah, I need this. I need the sea moth storage upgrade for sure. Alright, so we are putting Raven down here. Whoever this is. Raven. Okay, perfect. Hit every fish on the way. Just the way I prefer it. Oh, jeez. Alright, so technically, oh, I'm gonna hit that. Yep. I knew it. Okay. This is so dark here. Oh, wait, here's a wreck. Oh, here's a prawn arm. Okay, hold on. Let's scan some stuff, because we're here. Torpedo arm, huge. Okay.
New blueprint acquired.
Oh, that's gonna be the same. That's fine. Moon pool. Oh my gosh. This is gonna be like 4 pieces, isn't it? Oh, it's only 2 pieces? Please, please, please have the moon pool somewhere, like, close by. The other moon pool, please. What's that? Vehicle upgrade console. Perfect. I love it. I love when things work out nicely. Alright, I'm running out of oxygen. Well, not running out, but I'm half, so I gotta be careful here. Alright, I need the other moon pool. Like, that's a huge, huge, huge need right there. What the hell are you? A light stick? Lights. Oh, I know what the light sticks are. That's right. Alright, I need to go back to my... Ooh, I'm stuck. Ooh, I'm stuck. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There you are. Oh, thank you, Broseph. Now I can go back in. Okay, cool.
200 meters.
Thank you.
Efficiency greatly decreased.
Okay. Alright, so I have to cut this. So, laser cutter. There we go. Is it me? Is the game is lagging a bit, yeah. I don't know why. Okay, it's really lagging now. Like, now it's not doing anything. Oh, it's out of power. That's just me being stupid. Shit. Oh, shit. Okay. Well. Well, that sucks, because I definitely don't have a battery on me. Okay, so let's put down this other beacon. Who is that? What is that one? Beacon 9. It's fine. Torpedo arm. I'm super bummed that I have to go... Thermal plant fragment. That I have to go back because... Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I have to go back. I gotta go back because I need batteries. I need batteries. Yeah, see, I don't know why it's lagging. It's... yeah, I think the deep just struggles a bit. Can't complain, I've experienced the same on my shitty laptop. I always at least run. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it's being so... Honestly, my entire, like, PC is running kind of funky tonight, so I'm not sure. I wish that, like, I had a simple... I mean, honestly, everything's probably on very high settings, too. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, everything's on high. Bloom. Oh, I could turn bloom off. That's not that great. Yeah, see, everything's on high, so that's probably also why. How you doing, federal agent? Run a virus scan before you turn it off for the day? Oh, my PC, you mean? Yeah. I actually am one of the few people who, yeah, see. It's just like, it's when I do, like, turns, really. I'm one of the few people who actually, like, does shut my PC down every day. It's weird because I feel like this one doesn't run as good as the Game Pass version ran. Doing great. I'm doing okay. Doing okay. The mental health is not the greatest. So I'm kind of super hardcore distracting with Subnautica. You know how it be. Okay. Alright, so I have one moon pool piece.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Alright, can I make the vehicle upgrade station here? Building the moon pool! Damn it! Alright, I don't have that yet. So I technically can make the prawn suit, but I'm not gonna make it yet. Depth module 2. Depth module 3. Wait, can I? Oh no, I need 2 first. Enameled glass. Damn, I don't have enameled glass because I don't have a tooth. Yeah. Need a tooth. Remember to prioritize, you matter. Also, I turned my P off. I think everyone should do that unless you leave your games auto farming. Right, yeah, I turned mine off. Like, there's no reason for them to be on all night. Soaking up electricity, soaking up power, you know, whatever. Okay, all these rubies can go in there. Lithium, lithium is in here? Yeah. Okay, copper and gold are here. Diamonds is here. Yep. Okay. Aerogel sack. So can I make aerogel now? Whoa, that was a super bad lag there. Aerogel. Gel sack and rubies. Okay. Where's my ruby? Ruby? There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Now I can finish my water filtration right here. Nice. Okay. Okay. Now. I need... Oh, you're in... No. I try. One of the things... So I play a lot. I play a lot of survival craft games. Like, it's kind of like my niche, my thing. So I play a lot of survival craft games. And I have to be organized. All my stuff has to be organized. All has to be, like, nice and neat. All together. Like, no. There's no disorganized... no disorganized or inventory here. The only thing is, I don't like that the big containers can't be labeled like these ones can. One's next to me. I know you can't see because... See, these ones can be labeled, so these are like... Yeah, but you can't label these ones, which is annoying. You have to, like, put labels on the wall. Okay. Got aerogel. Okay, so this titanium actually does need to get put away. Okay, these go here. Aerogel can go... Yeah, let's put aerogel in here. Let's also take this and put these in here. No, in here. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Zeus. It feels almost pre-built. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Zeus. Bye, Zeus. Zeus, it's so good to see you. I'm glad that you've been, like, popping back in a little bit more lately. Okay, so... Oh my god, my battery situation is out of control. Alright, let's take these and let's put these in here. Okay, so this, yeah, my battery situation is out of control, but I have to fill some stuff real quick. Okay, so 2 needs a battery. 1 needs a battery. This needs a battery. And this needs a battery. Okay. Oh, battery charger, please, please, I'm begging you. Okay, so let's take our last 2 full batteries here. So this obviously needs to be the center of everyone's life here. Look at that. Look at it. Just look at it. Yeah, see, this one I already have hanging up somewhere else too, but it's fine. Alright. Okay, now... what else do I have? So I've got food, I've got water. This guy needs to go somewhere. Let's put you in the bioreactor, I guess. Are you full? You're still full? Look at that. Oh wow, it immediately uses the egg. That's so funny. Like, that's actually really funny that it just like immediately uses the egg up. Like, bye. Okay. Okay. So I've got that, I've got that. This. What am I missing? I've got my this one, this one, this one. Oh, my scanner. Like, so scanner like to be 2. This one to be 3. Okay. Okay. Now, let's work our way back to where we were, which is 9, right? Is that what we said? It's number 9. Yep, what's over there? Aurora rendezvous point on dry land. Why? Why? What is that? Welcome aboard, Captain. After an unsuccessful hunt for new materials fills me with Nordic rage. Welcome aboard, Captain. And you're like, I did nothing! Alright. Materials. Advanced materials. Electronics. Water. What did I unlock? It says I unlocked 19 new things. The prawn suit. Okay. Hull reinforcement. For Seamoth. See, I can't... oh, I'm so annoyed because I can't do any of these. Like, I need the moon bay. Yeah, the moon pool. I have 1. 1 out of 2. So we have to go back and find the other pieces for the moon pool. That sucks. Alright, but why does it want me to go to this rendezvous point? Is it because I picked up, this one? Because I picked his thing up? Yeah, okay, so yeah. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so it's when I picked up Officer Keen's crew log. It, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, thank you for the follow. So when I picked up the crew log, it gave me that marker. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, why? I haven't answered the radio in a very long time. I'm like refusing to, oh my god, the lag. I'm like refusing to answer the radio for a little bit until I'm like ready to progress the story, because it totally screwed me by making me go to the alien island, and I didn't want it. It wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. It's been scientifically proven that owning cats is good for our health and can decrease the occurrence of high blood pressure and other illnesses. Cats give me high blood pressure. Oh shit, do I have water? I do, right. Ugh. Oh, what's in here? Free platinum, that's what's in there. Or titanium, I mean. That's what's in there. The one thing, like, the prawn suit is, like, great and all, but I don't really like traversing with it. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of, like, traversing with the prawn suit.
100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
When I get much older, I will for sure own a cat at that stage. Yeah. I guess I can understand. My dog is, like, the love of my life, honestly. She's the best thing. She's, like, the best thing that's ever happened to me. So, a cat, I could not imagine, because cats are so, like... Cats don't give any shits whatsoever. And my dog is just, like, always, like, she's just, like, always so concerned with me. And, like, what I'm doing and, like, what's going on. And it's just, I just love it. And I don't think I could ever give that up. Please be Moonpool. Oh my god, Moonpool, let's go. I'm obsessed with my cats, really. I have had cats. Like, I would have categorized myself as a cat person prior to getting my dog. Like, legitimately, like, if somebody had asked me, you know, 15, 20 years ago, I'd be like, no, I love cats. I'm a cat person. But then I got my dog, and now I'm like, no, I could never imagine any other animal other than my dog. She's such a little shit, but I love her to death.
New blueprint acquired.
New blueprint acquired. Is that really all that's in here? No, the light stick. Never owned a cat, so perhaps it would be interesting. Really? You've never owned a cat? Yeah, they can be loving, don't get me wrong. They can be. I'm talking shit. But, like, the ones that I've owned have always been so, like, do not bother me. I exist simply to exist. Do not bother me. Cats have so much personality, and dogs are like, oh, you feed me, love me. Yeah, my girl cat is like that. Yeah. Your cats are funny, though. I definitely have to say. I can't live without them. Yeah, I definitely, like I said, I was definitely, like, a cat girl when I was younger. And then, yeah, and then I got Gigi, and I was like, I can't ever imagine. I can't imagine any other animals. Honestly, like, as morbid and as, like, fucked up as this sounds, like, I probably won't be able to get another pet, like, after Gigi passes for, like, a long time. Like, that's really, really, really gonna mess with me. Ooh, I need you for gel. Tiger plant, go away. I don't remember what these vents actually do, though, or if they even actually do anything. My neighbors and friends own cats, and to me, they just value their space. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, some of them. Some of them are very, like, don't bother me, don't look at me, don't speak to me. And then some are very, very, very loving. Oh, I need oxygen. Where's my thing? This. Plus, this Labrador as a kid, and I've refused to get another one. Yeah. She's 15 and a half now. And she's still, like, she still seems fine. But every once in a while, she'll do something. And I'll be like, you can't see or hear, can you? What else is aerogel for? I don't even remember, honestly. Oh, I'm full already. Amazing. See? This is why I never get anything done in this game. This is why I never get anything accomplished in this game. They are family, it hurts. Yeah, and it stays with me. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's really sad. My Chihuahua is starting to kind of show signs of being a little older as well. He's not as old. He's like 8 or 9. Is the extension still working? Can someone check, or do I have to refresh it? Because every once in a while it desyncs, and I have to refresh it. Just crashing into everything along the way. Can't be bothered. Can't be bothered. See, I think my moon pool might go like right here. It'll be a little deep, but I think it'll be cool. Maybe not. Maybe my moon pool... Well, no, because I have to be able to put the Cyclops in it. So my moon pool might need to go down here. Honestly. Which, I don't know how that's gonna work, because doesn't it need to get power from my base?
Welcome aboard,
Right?
Captain.
Alright, what else is aerogel for? Reinforced dive suit. Synthetic fibers. How do I make those? Benzene and fiber mesh. How do I make benzene? With blood oil, which I don't have yet because I haven't actually made it all the way down there yet. Okay. Deep shroom. Also don't have because I haven't actually... It does work. Perfect. Thank you, Nyx. This doesn't affect you guys as much as it affects me. The Booba Pokemon, yeah. It is the Booba. But thank you, Nyx, for testing it. I much, much appreciate it. At least I know it's not desynced, because it likes to desync, and I'm like kind of annoyed. Oops, I missed one. Gold? Gold? Lots of titanium and lead, okay. Lead can go in here. Titanium. We are so full of titanium, but that's good because we're gonna need to build. Okay. Oh, I can see again.
Fluid intake.
Oh, nope. I forgot that that's what that does. It doesn't use it. Like a dum-dum.
Vital
Okay.
signs stabilizing.
There we go. Blueprints. So, we have the moon pool. Battery charger 0 out of 2! Why? Nuclear reactor. Don't have that one yet. Okay. Moon pool. Titanium ingot. Lubricant. Okay. So titanium ingot is very easy to make. Lubricant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll beat the game and buy the DLC one day. This has a... Wait, does this have a DLC? Wait, does Subnautica have a DLC? What? I didn't see it on Steam. Or are you talking about Below Zero? Is it 1? I don't remember. Is it 1 titanium ingot or 2? It's 2. Okay, so I need 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10. Isn't that DLC? It's not. It's a second game. It's a whole second game. Yeah. It's, I mean, you buy 2 games. It's technically a second game. Technically. Okay. Alright, I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that. That's fine. Alright, I do need the reinforced dive suit. Which I can't make yet, because I need to go deep. Okay. So what did I just say? 2 titanium ingot, lubricant, okay, so 2 lead. 2 lead. I don't think I have any lubricant. I think I need to go get some and make some, which shouldn't be bad. All right, let's go. I think it's 4. I think I need 4. 4 little Orbeez. So it's actually the opposite, Federal. It's actually the opposite. So Subnautica came out, and then they released the second one, which is called Below Zero. And then what they did is they actually took Subnautica 1 and they remastered it or whatever, and added a lot of like the quality of life upgrades from Below Zero. So like, do you see on my hotbar on the bottom how like my tools have a health bar on them? That is because that's a Below Zero feature that they added. Hi, Jason Jones. Welcome in. How you doing today? How's it going? All right, go. And there we go. Yeah, so it's a patch. Yep. Yep. I definitely, I'm excited to play the second one. I have not played the second one at all, but I'm excited to. Moonpool. All right. Where will you let me build? You will let me build right here. Like literally right next to it. But how do I get there? There we go. There we go. And then I can get underneath it, and that should be good. Okay. Okay, and then we get in here. Nice. All right, let's get our... Got done playing some Fortnite. Very nice. I haven't played Fortnite in a while. I should get back into it. I haven't played in a bit. Okay, now, do I need this?
Human contact, it is normal to experience psychological discomfort. Research indicates symptoms may be partly alleviated by adopting a pet or anthropomorphizing an inanimate object.
This game is so sarcastic. Like, Subnautica Alexa is so sarcastic. She cracks me up. All right, so I need titanium. All right, what did I say? So it's 3 titanium, a computer chip, which I never remember goes into it. A computer chip, table coral, copper wire. Okay, I've got copper wire. Okay, table coral. I also have over here. Okay. And gold, I think, which I need to go back over here. Gold. Okay. Let's make some computer chips. Let's make a few of them. There we go. I wish they put the sea moth in Below Zero. Yeah, but isn't there a different... Because I haven't played it yet. But isn't there a different... Isn't there a different vehicle? Like, I think, because one of my regulars mentioned that there's like a vehicle. There's like an actual like vehicle that you drive. Like, so. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so let's make one more chip. There's no harm in it. Okay. So now for this. Now I've got everything I need. Okay, now I can go back outside. We're gonna build this. Base more on land. No, I don't know. I haven't played Below Zero, but I believe that it's cold. Like, I believe the whole thing is that it's like in a freezing place, I think. No spoilers, my bad. No, you're good. You're good. Enjoy COD and Fort because it's like 30 minutes of regret and depression playing by myself. Yeah, those types of games I'm not I'm not a huge fan of those types of games, yeah. Hey, Wolfie, how you doing? How you doing? All right, so let's... Ah, here it is. Oh, this is different. Oh, they split it all up. Oh, that's convenient. Okay, that's pretty convenient. Titanium and lithium. Easy enough. My god, it's gonna be so much going back and forth. I think it'd be fun with friends. That's why I enjoy playing. Yeah. 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 Like, I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but like, I agree. I'm just like, I'm at a point right now where as an adult, I'm finding it harder to like make these like friendships and stuff, like make these connections. So yeah, I get it. It's fine. That's fine. Okay. All right, so what do I need? So I got that one. Let me just double check so I don't go back and forth 100 times. So I have the, what do you call it? The depth stuff. I have the stuff to make the depth one. Here it is. Okay. No, I lied. This one. Okay, so I can make that. Oh, that's kind of helpful. See my sonar. No, I don't want that. I want the one that shows the sea moth. Like, that shows, like, the scanner stuff in the sea moth. Or wait, is that an upgrade in my suit? Pretty good. I have dinner day tomorrow. It was supposed to be a lunch day today, but she wasn't feeling well, and now that she's feeling better, she wants to do dinner tomorrow. Ooh, you leveled up on that one. Dinner is usually nicer, yeah? Well, good luck. Do you know where you're gonna go? Have you picked anything yet? All right, storage. Recycles heat byproduct. Yeah, I can't do that yet. Okay, so I have the depth module already. I've never put the torpedoes on the sea moth. Gets lonely. Ever to repair. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the light. It's such a pain. Okay, so hold on. There's the depth module 2. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, it's dark. I can't see. The darkness one, I feel like the darkness one doesn't look as dark on stream as it is on... Like, it just, like, straight, like, turns my brightness down. Oh my god, come on. You, come on, grab the ladder. Thank you. Okay, storage module, finally. Okay. Torpedo. Sea moth module, sea moth depth, sonar perimeter. Oof, I can see again. Hull reinforcement. There's gotta be more then. Is that what I'm missing? Oh, okay, so what did we just say we were naming? So this one's Johnny Deep. Ah, there it is. Okay, so let's do, we like blue. Red. The interior? What should we do the interior? That's kind of cool. Stripe. Red stripe. Okay. Done. Alright, so do I... Oh yeah, so I should just be able to walk up to the upgrade. Yeah, there you go. There, you can just walk right up to the upgrade thing. Yeah, alright, so now we've got storage! We've got storage in our sea moth now. Huge. Not because I don't know the town she lives in. She hasn't lived there very long, so she doesn't either. We're supposed to pick something together. Ah, I see. That'd still be nice, though. I'm happy for you. Is this the same girl that you had been dating before? Alright, so... Alright, so now I can actually make a little bit of progress with some supplies because we can... We have some upgrades. We have some space now, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, I don't think I need this right now, and it's taking up a lot of my spaces. Okay, so I'm getting it right now. Relax. See? Chill.
Stabilizing.
The sea moth. Yes, finally. That's how I feel, like, with the flames and everything. Like, finally. Okay. I can't make the suit upgrade yet, right? No, I haven't really did it. I was supposed to go out a few times with a lady back in my area. Oh, okay, so that's probably what I was thinking of. I did see her last week when I was in Charlotte, but this is a person I've been talking to out here in California. I see. So that's probably what I was thinking. I was probably thinking of back in South Carolina. Okay, so here we go. Reinforced dive suit. So the synthetic fibers I can't make yet because I need the blood. Yeah, I need the blood oil. Yeah, okay. We have to find... Okay. Shit, how do I find where that is from here? Alright, can I do any of the depth module upgrades yet? Depth 2. Plasteel ingot, which is what? 1 titanium ingot and 2 lithium. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, my ingot and then a lithium. I have to go and get the module from my boat, though. Shit, I don't have enameled glass. Shit, I can't do this. God damn it. I can make my plasteel ingot, though, in the meantime. Oh, it's 2 lithiums. Oops. Well, that's really annoying. It's been super hard for me to find stalker teeth this playthrough, for whatever reason. Yeah, it's been so hard to find stalker teeth for whatever reason this playthrough. I don't know why. Alright, so we'll put our titanium back. I'll put my plasteel in here just for now, because I can't do anything with it anyway. Nidorina in chat. Alright, let me... Alright, so I need to find the... Is it like the blood kelp forest? Is that what it is? It's like the blue plants with like the red thingies on them. Like, I know exactly what I'm looking for. See, that one I haven't found yet. Alright. Alright, we need to find some stuff. Okay, let's go. Get in. Alright. I don't know.
All systems online.
I don't know which way to go. Like, that's the one thing, is I never actually, like, really learned the map. Alright, I went west. Went west from spawn. Have I been in here? I think I have been in here, but let's just laser cut this.
Meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased. Detecting increased foreign bacteria levels in the water. Performing a self-scan is advised.
I don't want to. It's gonna tell me I'm infected, and then the aliens are gonna come get me. What are you? Lightweight, high capacity tank, huge.
Blueprint acquired.
Anything else? Mobile vehicle bay, I already have. That's fine. Oh, I almost hit the wrong button. Okay, water. What are you? Propulsion cannon we've got as well. Alright, so... Okay. Mobile vehicle bay fragment. Oh, is it the battery charger? Yes, that's 1 out of 2. I almost passed that, chat. I almost swam right past that. Could you imagine? I'm always afraid of jump scares in this thing here. Like, every time I open one of those doors, I'm like, it's gonna jump scare me. I know it. Battery charger, let's go. Oh my god, chat, this is huge. This is so huge. This is so huge.
Blueprint acquired.
Hi, Zaz! Brosif, thank you for the oxygen. Blosif. I don't know what happened, and I got stuck there for a second and couldn't say words, but, you know. That was dope. That was actually a really good find. That was a really good find, Chatterino. What's this? Scanner room we have. Yeah, I see you over there causing
Passing
trouble.
100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Okay. I do want to go back only because I want to build the battery charger. So while I'm out, I can start charging these 9,000 batteries we've got. But yeah, we have to find the blood kelp forest. That's our goal. We have to find that. Zaz, how was the day? I don't remember if those floaters do anything. I'll have to look. I don't think they do. Johnny Deep docked. Look at that. Johnny Deep. Okay. Mobile battery charger. Let's go. Wiring kit. Okay. Copper wire and titanium. We got this. Copper wire. Wiring kit. Let's go. Copper wire. Bit injured, but still grinning. Hey. Sorry to hear about your injury, but ow, I love to hear the still grinning part. That makes me very happy to hear. All right, battery charger. Oh wait, no, I need my 2 titaniums. Oh, I have titanium. I have so much titanium. All right, should we do more than 1 battery charger, do you think? Nah, we're good with the, at least for now, we're good with the 1. All right, let's get these dead batteries charging, chat. All right, We have so many dead batteries. It's ridiculous. Okay, charging. All right, it's using... Okay, hold on. How's my bioreactor situation? Because it's using up more power. No, it's still... It's still pumping. It immediately uses the eggs. Like, look at it. Did you see how fast it ate that egg? Look at it. Watch. Oh, see, it must have already finished it. It, like, immediately went through that. That was wild. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Alright. I think I might put a second battery charger down. Look at these fish swimming in my... Actually, no. I'm gonna make some power cells. Silicone rubber. I've got that over here. Over here. Yes. Okay, let's make some power cells. Because we need those. Those are huge. So we'll make 2 of those. Actually, we'll make 3. Because then we can actually have one for the sea moth. And then we'll put 2 in there. I know they're charged, but we're just gonna store them in there. It's fine. Okay. Okay, that's good. Things are going good. Well, things are back on track. Okay. Let's go here. You can go in there. I've got these. Why do I have these? Am I just picking up random stuff as I'm exploring? I feel like I am. Alright, silver. Copper. Oh, shoot. This is here. Yeah, see, I need more of these. Maybe process into bloodzine. Yeah. Bloodzine? Benzene. I'm so stupid. Alright, we have to find the kelp forest. Alright, so the batteries are charging. Let me get some food and some water while we're here. I should probably make some more water too. Yeah, let me go grab some. Let me grab some water fish. Where's my thing? Holy, how does it get over here? Alright, I need you. Come here. No, you. I need you. Come here, please. Guess who? Hey, DJ. Welcome in. How was your day? We've made quite a bit of progress tonight. We're doing good. We're just collecting some bladderfish to get some water. To make a bunch of water before we go on our adventure. Ooh. Where'd it go? I missed it. Sometimes these fish are very squirmy. Stress, anxious, scared face pre-test. DJ, I believe in you. You got this. You've been doing good with studying. Of course you're gonna be anxious, but you got this. I believe in you. You know I believe in you. If nobody else does, I do. Oh, DJ, it's a good thing you're here because we have to find the blood kelp forest, I think. Is that where you get the little red blood oil? That's where we have to find. That's our next step. That's our next step. That's our goal. Kicking you hard. Oof. How much longer do you have, DJ? Alright, I don't see any more, pishies to make into waters. The test is tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Alright, that's okay. Just drink some tea, some tea tonight, you know? Do any last minute studying if there's anything that you're not really comfortable or confident on. And then just get some good sleeps. Because there's nothing that is gonna come from stressing out, you know? At the end of the day, stressing out is just going to stress you out. Which I know that's very, very motivational. But you know what I mean. Stress is just gonna be stress. It's not gonna help you. Okay, let's go make some water real quick. Make some waters. Oops, wrong one. There we go, there we go. I need to be making the disinfected water, really, but it's a waste of salt right now. Until I actually build the prawn, which I'm not gonna build yet. My info's okay, there's supposed to be a blood kelp forest around a mushroom forest, but I still haven't found it, so I could be wrong. Okay. Okay. I found it last game. I just don't remember how I found it. Okay, so I think I need to go back and get.
Seek fluid intake.
You found the crab and panic. That's how. No. The crab was spawned in by somebody. I found it last time. Like last time I played the game. Like last year when I played the game, I found it. Sorry, that was kind of confusing.
Stabilizing.
Okay, so I have 2 markers over. One of them is by a shipwreck, which I'm pretty sure I'm done with. Alright, I need to get some deployables. Yeah, here we go. Oh, got it. Yeah. Alright, so we've got a beacon. Okay. We've got our storage upgrade now. Okay, so let's put all but like 3 waters away. Okay. Let's get 2 of these. We'll drop this. And then we'll get this. Nope, I lied. Okay. Okay, and then drop our titanium off. And then we're gonna go find the blood kelp forest. What time is it? 9:45. We've got plenty of time. We've got like literally like 2 hours. So let's go. All right, I've got food, I've got water, I've got batteries, I've got a beacon for it to mark the entrance. Okay. Let's go get Johnny Deep. You see, look at DJ, look at all the progress I've made. Look at all the progress I've made. We finished the Aurora. I technically, wait. Oh yeah, that's right. It's only 16 spaces, so it's not like a full, it's not like the full, a full set of inventory. Okay. All right, I'm gonna head this way. We're gonna go west. I'm so proud, thank you. Yeah, we finished the Aurora. I can build the prawn suit, but I'm not building it yet because, like, I've been rushing through a lot of stuff and, like, I don't have a ton of supplies. So I really need to slow down and, like, just do some, like, supply runs and stuff. So I need to find the blood kelp forest because I need to start making that stuff, that red stuff. Okay, so we went west. We left our base and we went west. It's a lot to mine down there. The opposite way of the Aurora. Yeah, we're going that way. Yep. Oh my god, look it! I found it! Oh, there's my first warper. Alright, so here's this. This is what I need. I need these blood thingies. Alright, I can only go 300 in here, so I gotta be careful. Alright, there we go. Okay.
100 meters.
Okay. Oh.
Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Fucking kidding me right now. I didn't even bother you, bro. Wait, where did you put me? Oh, okay. You didn't warp me very far. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay, okay. You didn't warp me very far. Alright, I need to put my beacon down, but I need to get back in here. Hold on. Alright, my beacon needs to be set to 3. Okay, 3. There we go. Alright, so give me...
Matches 7 of the 9 preconditions for stimulating terror in humans.
There we go. This is what I need. This is what I need. Oh, that scared me. Okay, let's go put some back in here, and I'll grab a few more. We'll come back. Alright, I'm gonna rename this to... Blood. Oh. Okay. Gimme, 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 gimme. Get seeds. Do I have... Oh, I have space. Okay. 3. I can't. I cannot. Wait, are they on the top? I can't. Thank you for the oxygen. I cannot get seeds. Oh, you fucked my stuff up, didn't you? No, leave me alone. You big old bully. Alright, so let's drop those. Alright, so I can grab more. You don't get seeds with that attitude? Tell me how to get seeds and I will gladly get some seeds. I just like don't know how to do it. Like usually you just smack them a couple times. Deep mushrooms? Ooh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Just watch my oxygen, watch my oxygen. Are these blood things or are these? Yeah, they are. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yes. How much do I have? 3. I can grab 3 for now, but okay. Terralane, thank you so much for mentioning that while I was down here, because I would have been really upset to have to go all the way back and around. But we have to go all the way back and around anyway. Don't do it. Don't do it, Warper, I swear. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I see you. I see you. Being a bully. Deep mushrooms? I'm an adolescent? Oh my gosh. Franklin, you big silly goose. Alright, so where did I put my blood kelp? Perfect, okay. Okay, perfect. We're doing okay. Alright, where's home? Home is east. Yep, perfect. Look at that! It was such a good call when I was like, alright, I'm just gonna pick a direction and I'm just gonna go because I don't know where else to look. And look at that. I found exactly what I needed right away. Found exactly what I needed right away. My internet's being a poo. Amazing. I love it. I love to see it. Alright, so I see my moon pool right there. So... oh yeah, I need to grab farties. Next time he farts, I need to grab them. Okay. Okay, here we go. A little bit of lag. Love to see it. Okay. Alright, what did I need benzene for? To make these, right? Yes. Alright, so we'll make some benzene. Okay. 3 blood oil. Oh my gosh. Alright, the fiber mesh should be here. Yep. Alright, what were these for? Oh, the suit, the new suit. That's right. So now 2 diamonds and 2 titanium. 2 diamond and 2 titanium. Hello? Please stop getting ahead of yourself there. Okay, reinforced dive suit. Let's go. Okay. And then we switch that. We switch that. Perfect. All right. So these. Oh yeah. Well, the radiation. I don't need the radiation suit at all because I repaired the Aurora. Right? Is that right? Okay. Advanced survival at extreme temperatures. And then I needed the... yes. Hydrochloric acid, so I need salt. I can only make 1 though, because I didn't have a lot of room to get more mushrooms. Which is kind of sad. Yeah, see, I can only make 1. 1 hydrochloric acid. 1 lonely hydrochloric acid. But then I needed the hydrochloric acid for something else, which was... polyaniline? Alright, I have to go look in the modification. I think it's this one. No. I have that one already. What do I need? Was it another upgrade? Like, what did I need it for? It's gotta be a vehicle upgrade. It has to be a vehicle upgrade. I don't remember. Well, I know the synthetic fibers I needed, but what did I need hydrochloric acid for? Like, I needed the hydrochloric acid for something, and I was like, I need mushrooms. Guess we'll find out, won't we? Huh. What the heck would it have been? So polyaniline, you need the hydrochloric acid. So do I need polyaniline for something? That would make sense, right? Yeah, so you need it for this. And for that... Okay, so maybe it's polyaniline that I needed. Ouch, my neck hurts. Yeah, see, I need enameled glass. This sucks. This really sucks. Scanner range upgrade, speed upgrade. HUD chip. Oh, that's what I want. That's what I want. A computer chip and magnetite. Computer chip, though, I never remember. Okay. Copper, gold, and table coral. Well, copper wire, excuse me. Okay. Copper wire. Okay. Gold. And table coral. I don't... it's probably faster, literally, to go right here. Okay. Computer chip. Alright. And then what was it? It was... what? Magnetite. Here? No. Here? No? There we go. Okay. I have to go in the scanner room to make that, though. Yes! Huge! Okay. So that's on my person now? Yep. Okay. Okay. Let me scan for... Stalker tooth! Show me a stalker tooth. Oh, look at that. There's one right here. There's one. There's one single stalker tooth. It's okay, because I think I only need one enameled glass to do my depth module. Oh, there's two stalker tooths. Teeths. Stalker teeths. Oh, and they're kind of close. There's no way. They're underneath. They're underneath here. So where? Magnetite, Magnalus, Magna just right. The Robo Goldilocks story. My gosh, that's such a cheese, but that was actually really good, Franklin. Alright, are you in here? No. Are you in here? Where the heck are those? What the heck is that? Copper ore? Oh, yeah, because it's scanning these things now, isn't it? What is this? Okay. Whatever. Let's go get some stalker tooths. Stalker tooths. I don't understand, like... Alright, here's one. Okay, so then where the heck are all of these? Oh, here's one. Nice. Okay. Where's the rest? Salt. I need salt. Salt's huge. Never pass up salt. When I can, I'm moving my base out of the shallows and I find the dam, that nice forest. Well, now you know that it's west. It's to the west of, the Aurora. Because I'm pretty sure that the map is procedurally generated. Well, no, I'm sorry. Isn't procedurally generated, and it's the same map for everyone, isn't it? Oh, wait, now I can finish the glass roof on the room over there, too, because I'll have enameled glass now. Metal full. Float. So the Aurora rendezvous point is gonna be one of those islands. I bet you there was so many stalker tooths the whole time, and I just, like, wasn't seeing them. Because, like, look at how many I found since, like, being able to scan them. Hi, Chiefy, how are you? All right. We'll make some enameled glass real quick. Okay, not that one. Is this one? Yes. All right, we have so much quartz to make glass with. Okay. Let's make some glass. Okay. Glass. Okay. Enameled glass done. Okay. What was the thing I needed it for? This one. Okay. So let's go get the depth module out of the Seamoth. Okay. Upgrades. All right, taking the depth module out. Got it. Okay. Then, plastisteel, which I put, where did I put it? Did I put it here? There we go. And, nope, nope, not you. 2 magnetites, which are here. I did this last time, here. 2. Okay. Depth module 2, there we go. And then I might even right away be able to go to 3. Plasteel ingot. Yep, okay. So I can make more plasteel. Yeah, okay. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Please, can I make an ingot with this? Do I have enough? Do, okay. Go to 3, I'm going! I'm going! Alright, and then 2 lithium here. Yeah. 2 lithium. there's my steel. In case you find the river, yeah, we're going full to 3. Okay, and then what is it? 3 rubies. Ooh, do I have 3 rubies? I think I do. Oh, I do. Okay. Okay. 2. There's 3. Okay. So, we've got that. We've got our ultra high capacity, right? Is that what we have as ultra high? Ultra high, okay. Alright, so let's put everything away that we've got left over. Okay. How are our batteries looking? Our batteries are doing good. Okay. Wait, my enameled glass needs to go here. Oh wait, isn't it here? Yeah. Glass dome. Enameled glass too. There we go. Okay, so then I need 2 titanium and a lithium. Which is fine. Two. Okay, and then this is almost done, and then we're like back on track for a little bit here. Okay, so there's nothing in this room, but I don't know what I'm gonna put in here yet. But there's nothing in here now, but it's got a glass door on it, glass dome on it. Okay, so now let's put everything else away. Put everything else away. Let's put the stalker tooths in here because you make them for glass anyway. This can go in there. That can also go in there. Alright, and then we've got that. We've got that. Copper goes here. Put an aquarium. I have an aquarium right here. Do you mean the what do you call it? Do you mean the big one? Do I have it yet? Alien containment. That one? That one? Yeah. 5 glass and 2 titanium. I can do that. Oh, maybe I can? Do I have enough? Yeah. Oh. Oh, there we go. 1. 2. 3. 4. If you put the fishes, they reproduce in the alien containment. But isn't that where you hatch eggs? Isn't alien containment where you put the eggs?
Aquariums provide an ideal opportunity to study alien fauna up close. Select carefully which life forms you bring on board.
I don't have enough titanium.
Studying you.
They may also be studying you. Alright, do I have an egg? Okay. I never knew you could do that. Interesting. Proceed to put 4 boomfish in the tank? No, no, no. I want to be putting boomy fish in tank. Boomfish do not go in tank. What about you? Can I go here? Let me go here, though. Interesting. Interesting. But you'll go here? No, you won't go here. That's the thing. They don't explode. Do I have any? I don't think I have any eggs. If I have eggs, I'll put them in, but I don't think I have any eggs. I have one. You powered your base with squid crabs you bred? What the hell are squid crabs? Wait, are those like bottom feeder thingies? This planter. Oh, I can plant in it? Alright, how do I put eggs in here? Do I just literally just drop the egg? Like, do I just drop the egg? Alright, but I can plant in here, so that's cool. Hold on. I have seeds. I got some seeds. The electric crab? Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, the squid crabs are the little ones, right? They have big crab-like claws and squid brains. Is it the big electric ones? The scary one? Thank you for the egg. Alright, no, let's just build those. Wait, like the big scary one? No, no, no. Like, yeah, the little ones that like... Wait, it's like bigger. It's... Ew, it's moving. It's moving. Plant, my pretties, plant. What is that? Is that a bad thing? The big scary one? Wait, are those, hold on. So are those like the yellow eggs that are at like the base of like the seaweed? Like the big yellow eggs, are those? Like, how do you know which one is which? How long does this take? Why aren't you hatched yet? Those still attach? They still attack if you hatch them? Really? They're baby, they take time. I don't want time. Alright, what else do I have? Food, water. Alright, so let's put my depth module back in. Johnny Deep. That's the wrong side. Okay, now we can go very deep. Johnny Deep. Blue with green swirls on top. They look blue with green swirls on top. Okay. I searched this one, right? I think I do this every time. Yeah, because I cut it open. Oh, what that at? Knock it off.
Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Scanner room. I've got this already. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. So this is an egg. So what's this egg? There's never a Jeep like Johnny, the one they call Johnny Guitar. Listen, I love me some Fallout. Johnny Guitar. Good stuff. Good stuff. What are these? Why are these here? Why are these floating? Play it again, my Johnny. Johnny guitar. Oh, red wart doesn't do anything. Okay. I see. Can you kill these? I know they hurt you. Thank you for the follow. I don't need acid mushrooms. I need the deeps. We're gonna have to go like that one? Also, thank you for absolutely nothing. Much appreciated. Your nothingness is much appreciated. Where the heck? Oh, here it is. Johnny, I lost you. Bubbles, thank you for nothing. Hi, Raven. No, no, not that one. Not that one. Oh, not that egg. Okay, okay, okay. Are you trying to spend all your points on that account? Thank you for the early breakfast. Mayhaps. Yeah, I was like, I think he's trying to spend all of his points on that account. All right, so even with the Cyclops storage upgrade, we are still full. The raise, the medium blue. Okay. Can you put multiple eggs in? Like, will they kill each other? Will it be a bloodbath? Because that'd be kind of cool. They shouldn't kill each other? Oh, bummer. Would have been better if they did. They don't kill each other? Blurred birth. There was a firefight. Why aren't you born yet? Alright. So we drop you, and where's my other egg? And we drop you. Oh wait, I already have that. I already have one of those. They're growing. Grow, my pretties. Grow, my pretties. Grow. They make kissy face? If you have two, they breed. Oh, well, I have two now, don't I? And then I got whatever that is. Okay. So let's put... no, I lied. This way. Two of the same egg. Yeah, I do. I have two of the... I have the two of the blue ones. I got two of the blue ones. Is one of the blue... No, I have... There's 3 eggs in there total. There's 2 of the little blue ones. See, there's one blue one right there, and then there's one blue one right there, and then there's one of the big blue ones. So there's 2. There's 2. See? Blue. Blue. I don't think it's bigger. I don't think it's that bigger. Okay, let's put stuff away and then continue. I also, I need to empty my, I need to empty my, whatchamacallit. My sea moth. I need to collect his farties too, but I hate doing that. Alright, where's the storage? Here it is. Okay. Grab these. These are... Why are these so huge? So annoying. Okay, what time is it? 10:22. Okay, we're good. We've got a little time. I have to empty the bedpan because I'm such an old lady. I'm such an old lady. Okay, there we go. Okay, 2 of those. Okay, so I've got salt, but whatever. I'm not gonna go dump these 2 things of salt. Let's go. All right, let's go back to the Bloodkelp Forest that I found because I'm the best at this game. For no other reason other than I'm the best at the game. The bedpan, DJ bedpans are, they're like these little pans that people who cannot get out of bed to use the bathroom, that's what they use to go to the bathroom. That's what they use to go to the bathroom. So it was a poopy joke. Franklin was making a poopy joke. Can you stack? Ooh, wait, is that, hold on. Is that one of the ones that will stack? Because some of them don't stack. Like the depth modules don't stack. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let me. That's a good idea. I've never actually thought to do that. It doesn't say. We'll try it. That's an easy one to make. We can try it. Separate module, separate cargo. Wait, so I can make more than one? Before indoor plumbing, that's true too. That's true too. Right, and then we're like here already. Alright, I need some mushrooms. Wait, so doesn't this... Wait a second. Doesn't this dump out into the river? Eventually? Yeah, you can cover your sea moth. What? That's what's up. They're like chests in Minecraft. Ah, so you can just keep using them? Just keep adding more. Hey, Blaze! Made a big purchase today. What did you get? Tell me. That was the sound. Yeah, no, I saw him. I saw him. I saw him. I saw him. He didn't scare me. He don't scare me. I don't want, like, a lot of them.
Efficiency greatly decreased.
Oxygen efficiency greatly decreased. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Oh, there's those zappies. There's the zappy boy I saw. I said that one entrance is in the Bloody River. Yeah, isn't it? Doesn't it go like... Oh, I can't get that. Oh wait, I can get the urine crystals. Urine crystals. Oh, he's infected. Oh, I am out of... There we go. Battery. Rebreather? Oh, my HUD. Alright, shit. Whoever just did that, you're kind of a bully. My rebreather might be at home. I think this is... Yeah, this is the radiation helmet. Shit. Good call. Okay. Let's see. In Jack's Fallout run, he has to sit to save, so he goes to the bathroom to save his progress. That makes me chuckle. That's funny. I just ate the cherry that was like mutant double cherry with 1 stem and 2 pits. It looked like a butt. Very funny cherry. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Alright, I need to go... There we go. Resource roulette, what'd you just give me? Oh, a pink cap, interesting. Yeah, I see you, Warper, please leave me alone. Alright, we need to go east. East, okay. What'd you get, a longboard? 390 bucks? Yeah, my ex-boyfriend was a longboarder. There's enough cyanide in 2 cherry pits to kill you? Really? Who's crunching on cherry pits? Yeah, this is, let me double check. This is, yeah, I don't know why I left that on when I swapped my stuff over. Gross. I love your front of head. Alright, so we're gonna try this again. But we're gonna put the rebreather on because Tara Lane has been so kind to remind me that I did not swap it when I put, when I took my radiation suit off. He's a skateboarder? Astro's so talented. No, he's a longboarder specifically. Oh my god, it did the thing again. I hate hide HUD because it puts this gray bar on my screen. For no reason, literally whatsoever. When the HUD comes back up. See the gray bar in the bottom left corner? I don't know how to make it go away. I can restart the game to make it go away, essentially. Alright, okay. Okay, radiation is gone now. We don't need that. Mock, thank you for the save. Okay. Okay, so I have a couple. I know they're not what that's. I know that's not what they're called. Don't come at me, but I like to call them urine crystals, so that's what we call them. Okay, so those can go there. All right, so the deep shrooms, I'm gonna put in here for now. And the yeah, I can't do anything with that. Let us check on our eggs. Have you hatched yet, sir? No. Oh, look at our stuff growing though. Cute. Alright, let me get water. What are you doing, step bro? Look at. Hi! Okay. We are good to go. Oh, I need food. I need some food. I'll get to my nutrient bricks that I got from the Aurora. You finally did it? Alright. Rebreather is on. So now we won't die the second we get down there. Alright, Johnny Deep, let's go! Back to the west.
All systems online.
Incense adjacent, very cool and not gross. Whoa, 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 whoa. Very cool, not gross. Very gross, not cool. I don't know why I was getting a lower result. But you got it now? But you did it now? You know what I didn't get? A beacon. No judgment, but also a little silent judgment. Just a little bit. You could have a little judgment as a treat. You can have just a little judgment as a treat. Using polar coordinates? Oh, and then you got the result? Oh my gosh, DJ. Isn't it always something so, like, silly or simple? Leave me alone, bro. I can use the map. You can, yeah, you can. Once we get to the entrance of the river, if I find it. Alright, here's Spicy Zappy Boy. You have 90s. You're getting there, Franklin. You're getting there. Here's deeper down here. This is where it starts to actually scare me. There's another fucking warper.
Local scans show a nearby opening, leading to a biome with extensive fossilized remains.
Here it is. Here it is. Let me go right where it opened, right here. Right here, DJ. Perfect, thank you. That's great. Alright, just watch the oxygen levels down here, because they can go very fast. Can I scan this? I don't actually remember. Yes, I can. A me blade. Can you do anything with these? Okay, I can't go down there yet. That will hurt me. There's a ghost leviathan. Yes, there is. Yeah, I know. But those, luckily, those are mostly easy to see. All right, just watch my oxygen. Isn't there a door here? How much I relate to the Leviathan, life of loneliness, darkness, and despair. Oh, that's sad. Oh, I need to come back with a purple thing. Okay, I need to come back with a tablet. Okay, so I need to come back with a tablet.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Woo! Ooh, I hate those things so much. You don't understand how much I hate those thingies. What's that? Nuclear reactor. Okay. We are very deep down here. How is there any sort of anything? Nuclear reactor. Is that 3? Or is that 2? Oh, that's 3. Oh, dope.
New blueprint acquired.
Who are you? You're a creature egg. You're a very large creature egg. Wait, are you a zappy boy? Creature egg? Let me get this. This. Alright, I can't do too much more. I can't get underneath the gas yet. Where's the zappy boy so I can scan him without him hurting me? No, come here, I just want to scan you, come here. Bro, I'm trying to scan you. Well, that's very rude. Just trying to learn. I was just trying to learn about you. Alright, so now we have to find up. Well, we just go up, I guess, really, but... Alright. Where's their blood kelp one? Here it is. So let's turn this one yellow so I can see it. There it is. Okay. There's a warper right there. There's another warper? Really? Dang. This game does not waste any time. They waste 0 time in making sure you know that they are here. Oh, look it, there's like a much easier way to get there than the way I had been going, but that's fine. Yeah, warpy boy, I hear ya. Let's go east. There we go. It's over here. Warpies. Maybe he values his privacy and appreciates you. I am trying very hard to leave him alone, and he is not leaving me alone. He's the one obsessed with me. He's the one obsessed with me. What's my inventory looking like? Oh, I have so much space left. What is this? Why am I going back? Oh, I want to make the nuclear reactor. That's one of the things for sure. Wants you to be a skateboard queen? Oh my gosh, Franklin. Egg. So how do you take them out of the aquarium once you've bred them or grown them or whatever? I pick them? Okay. So it'll just do it then. It'll show me what to do. Oh, look, they grew. They hatched. Now this one. This is gonna be a zappy boy. Look at how big that egg is. Ew, it's like moving. No, I will release you back. Okay. Why did I leave though? Like what was I doing that I was like, oh, I need to come back? Oh, I got scared. I ran all the way home because I got scared. I was like, why did I come back home? Like, what am I doing here? It's because I got scared. I got scared of the crab. So I ran away. What new blueprints? Oh yeah, the nuclear reactor. Yeah, but then you need like the rods, right? The things that I got rid of before. Yeah, reactor rod. Oh, that's what the urine crystals are for. Oh. CMOS storage? Yes. That's not why we came home. We came home because I got scared and I ran away like a little bitch. But yes, we're gonna make CMOS storage. Thank you for the reminder. Let's mark it. Let's mark it so I don't get distracted. Oh, this is titanium and lithium. This is stupid easy. Like, we can actually make... How many spots left do we have? I think we have 2 spots left on our CMOS. Technically. The grind is real. The grind is real. I'm still laughing at myself for straight up leaving where I was halfway across the map because I got scared. I was like, I'm so scared. Oh, it's so dumb. Okay. I'm such a baby. Oh my god, I'm crying right now. It's so funny. Alright, so we've got 3 storages. Holy storage! Holy storage! Look at all this storage! Alright, so let's take our mushrooms and let's go back. Not gonna lie, Sam, whenever I hear the volcanic activity, my heart sinks. It's just a game. I know! I know! I just get so scared. I get so scared. Like, you guys, one thing that you have to learn about me is it doesn't necessarily have to be scary for me to get scared of it. Like, I get so terrified of like the most simple things sometimes. Like, I get scared of like the dumbest, simplest things sometimes, honestly. Like, whenever I tell my friends I'm gonna play a scary game and I'm like, I'm so scared, I'm about to play a scary game, they're like, it's not even scary. It's like, it doesn't have to be scary. It will be scary for me. Alright. I'm going to... Hold on, let me pull up crowd control for a second. Because it's got whatever this breakfast is in queue, and I don't understand why. Like, how do I... Event type. Queued, okay. Show all. Oh, all right. I'm gonna save the game and reload it anyway because that bar in the bottom corner honestly annoys me. And I know it's stupid, but it annoys me. And every once in a while, it's good to refresh the crowd control. Thank you for the clip. What did I do? What did I do in the clip? What was the clip? What did I do? Did I make fun of myself for for being a baby? 12 hours. 12 hours of gameplay. And I've done nothing. A Staravia? I don't know. There's a Pokemon in the chat. Okay. Crush depth, 900 meters. Okay. Now we're good. Okay. Seamoth storage. We can go back into the... I guess we'll go back there.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I should probably start the process of building the prawn suit, but it's fine. You got up out of your chair. Nothing? I have 24 hours and I can't find the blood forest. Well, now you know where it is. It's west. You just go straight west. Straight west. You'll find it. Why? Stop hitting my ship. Damn it, Nyx, I just read it. Thank you. Unknown. Yeah, I don't think I've explored very much over here. Oh. Oh my god. Arc. Okay, hold on. Down is up. Okay. And Nyx did the tooth sound again. I see. Okay, so then we go... Nope, nope, nope. Down is up. There we go. No, leave me alone. Leave me alone. This is so hard. Oh my god, and my FOV? Holy god, guys. Wait, where's my thing? Oh, hold on. Let me. Can I scan that? Oh my god, come on. Here we go. Oh, my controls are back. Okay. Still the FOV though. Heather. Alright. Is Gengar the best? Down is up, cats or dogs, life is death. Down is up. Is it me or is Gengar the best first gen? Dragonair is the best first gen, but Gengar is definitely up there.
Seek fluid intake. Vital signs stabilizing.
I think my favorite part of this game is drinking water underwater with a diving helmet on. Oh no. I just restarted my game because the hide HUD breaks it, but we'll redo it again. I have to remove hide HUD because it actually like breaks things when it comes back up. Well, I guess. Okay. It's fine, I'll just leave that annoying gray box on my screen. I don't know why that is a thing. Alright, so where's... I know I don't have my thing, but I should be able to see the light of my ship over there. Charlotto's favorite Pokemon is Dragonite, because Dragonite helped him to achieve true love after that lady was mean to him on Twitter. Why can't you just take off your gear for a bit and drink some unfiltered alien planet water? It's definitely not unhinged. It's totally fine. It takes the HUD away for us, but it doesn't cover the screen. No, no. Listen. In the bottom left corner right now is a gray box. Do you see it? Underneath my oxygen and stuff? That only comes up after hide HUD, and I can't get rid of it. I have to reload the entire game to get rid of it. Yeah, that's what I said. It puts this gray box on my screen that I can't get rid of. I didn't see it, yeah. It's just one of those things, like, it's just visually annoying to my eye. Because it doesn't do anything, it has no purpose, it's just there. And there's no way to get rid of it, I have to, like, reload the game. Which is, it's not a big deal. We're only going for another, like, probably half hour, maybe an hour. The gray box? No, I haven't. I guess I haven't. Alright, I want to put this... I know I have storage on my Seamoth and I didn't need to come back, but I want to put this egg away. These eggs take up a lot of space. Oh, look, it's a little shark. So that's that one. Okay, so we've got the big one left. Okay. Interesting. Oh, they'll get bigger, right? Yeah, they'll get bigger. Okay. All right. All right, let's just drop this stuff off and head back out. Copper, lead. All right, all that salt is fine. All right, that's fine for now. Reminds me, helped to remind of Jared Leto's gray lifeless corpse as their link, and he killed each other over Leonardo DiCaprio's sexual love. Just, Franklin, keep all that in a little notebook, and when we actually write the fanfic for my streamathon at the end of the month, you'll have all of your ideas already ready to go. Okay, and back. All right, I have to get better at remembering. that I have storage on my Seamoth, and I don't need to leave whenever it gets full. It's quite literally a gray cardboard box. That's why I mentioned it. SCP-6080. Yeah, SCP, like the horror stuff, right? The horror franchise. That's not a franchise, but yeah, you know what I mean. Oh. Yeah, SCP Foundation, yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to the base and we're gonna call it now because I would like to actually like really dive into the kelp forest next time. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna build the prawn suit. Well, no, we're gonna see what we need to build the prawn suit, and we'll start that, and then we'll go back to the kelp forest and the river next time. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Instead of like me trying to like push it and go a little bit further, especially because my internet's been kind of like stupid annoying today. I think we made some good progress. I really think we've made some good progress today. So I'm not upset about ending a little bit on the earlier side.
Welcome aboard.
And then we can also do that. We can do the rendezvous point next time too. Okay, so we're gonna build the prawn. We're gonna do the river, the Lost River, and then we're gonna go to the rendezvous point. And that's what we're gonna do next time, guys. All right, let's find someone to toss a raid to. Okay. Let's see. Let's go say hi to Serena. Jack is on? Do I not follow Jack? What is his name? What's Jack's name? It's Jack of what? All trades. That's right. What is he playing? Fallout 3? All right. Okay, guys. Maybe stream tomorrow. I don't know. If not, I'll see you on Friday for some 7 days with Broseph, and then I'll stream some Subnautica this weekend, and we'll make some progress. But thanks for hanging, and I will see you when I see you.